Welcome to Old Coins World PK, your ultimate gateway into the fascinating universe of rare and valuable coins. Here, every coin has a story, a journey through history, mystery, and incredible value. From ancient treasures to modern rarities, we uncover the secrets that could be hiding right in your pocket. Whether you're a passionate collector or simply curious, get ready to explore coins worth thousands, even millions, and learn why they are so sought after around the globe. This is more than collecting. This is discovering history you can hold in your hands. Old Coins World PK, where every coin tells a story.
Go take a deep dive into the 1981 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that may look ordinary, but in reality, it represents one of the most important transitions in U.S. coin history. Let's begin with the background. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, and since then, it has become one of the most recognized coins in the world. Now, coming to 1981, why is this year so important? Well, for more than 70 years, the Lincoln cent had been made of 95% copper and 5% zinc or tin. Copper was affordable in the early 1900s, so the U.S. Mint had no issue striking billions of these coins. But by the late 1970s and early 1980s, the price of copper began to rise dramatically. It reached a point where producing a single penny actually cost more than 1 cent. Imagine that. The government was losing money every time a penny was made. This problem forced the mint to make a serious decision. By 1982, the composition of the penny was officially changed to a cheaper metal, 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. But here's the key fact. 1981 was the very last full year when pennies were struck from mostly copper. This is why the 1981 Lincoln cent is considered historic. Now, let's explore the design. On the obverse, we see the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, the same design used since 1909. The word liberty is placed to the left, the year 1981 to the right, and above, the national motto, "In God We Trust." On the reverse, we see the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which had been on the penny since 1959. Interestingly, if you look closely under magnification, you can even spot a tiny image of Lincoln's statue inside the memorial, a hidden detail many people never notice. But what about the mints? In 1981, pennies were struck at 3 locations. Philadelphia, no mint mark. Denver, D mint mark. San Francisco, S mint mark for proofs. Now let's talk about value and rarity. Most 1981 pennies are common because billions were produced. In circulated condition, they're worth just about 1 to 3 cents. But collectors look for high-grade examples. An uncirculated 1981 penny in mint state 65 can be worth around $5 to $10. At higher grades like MS67, the value can jump to $100 or more. Proof versions from San Francisco, especially those with a deep cameo finish, can sell between $50 and $200, depending on condition. And of course, any error coins, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or clipped planchets, can fetch significantly higher prices at auctions. Now you might be asking, why does the 1981 penny matter to collectors if it's so common? The answer is simple: history. This coin marks the end of the copper era in U.S. coinage. After 1981, pennies were no longer made primarily of copper. This change connects the 1981 cent to one of the biggest shifts in American money. That makes it more than just pocket change. It's a milestone in coin history. Think of it this way. If you hold a 1981 penny, you're holding one of the last real copper coins. If you hold a 1982 penny, you have to check carefully because that year was a transition year. Some were copper, some were zinc. That's why collectors often treasure 1981 as the last year you can be sure your penny is solid copper. So, what should you do if you find a 1981 penny? First, check its condition. If it's shiny and free from scratches, you may want to keep it in a safe holder. If it has a mint mark, note whether it's from Denver, Philadelphia, or San Francisco. And always keep an eye out for errors, because those are the coins that can make you serious money. To wrap it up, The 1981 Lincoln cent may only say 1 cent, but it tells the story of America's economy, the rising value of metals, and the end of an era in coin production. For collectors, it's not just about value in dollars, but about owning a piece of history. So, the next time you come across a 1981 penny, don't underestimate it. It's more than just copper. It's a symbol of transition, history, and hidden value. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Old Coin Legacy for more amazing stories about rare and valuable coins. And don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss an update. Today we are going to explore a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors around the world, the 1982 DeWitt penny. At first glance, it may look like a simple 1-cent coin, but in reality, it is one of the most desirable coins of modern American history. The story of this coin begins in 1909, when the first Lincoln wheat cent was created. For decades, the wheat penny became a symbol of everyday American life, used in shops, farms, and factories across the nation. By the time we reached 1982, the Lincoln cent had already built a reputation as one of the most collected coins ever made. But the 1982 D penny stand apart because of its extraordinary rarity and fascinating history. Now let's focus on the 1982 DeWitt penny itself. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark under the date. What makes this coin remarkable is that 1982 was a year of transition for the United States Mint. The government made a major decision to change the composition of the penny from mostly copper to mostly zinc, because copper prices were rising too high. This change created unique varieties of 1982 pennies, including the highly valuable 1982 D. Collectors from every part of the world seek out this coin because it represents the last breath of an era. A wheat penny dated 1982 with a Denver Mint mark is not just a cent. It is a living piece of American economic history. It symbolizes a shift from heavy copper coins to the lighter zinc coins we know today. So how valuable is this coin really? The answer might shock you. While ordinary pennies are often ignored, the 1982 DeWitt penny in special conditions has sold for thousands of dollars. At high grades, especially in uncirculated mint state, values can soar past $10,000. Imagine finding just a single penny in your old collection and realizing it could pay for a new car. Even more incredible, certain era varieties of the 1982 D penny have reached jaw-dropping prices. Some rare examples have crossed over $18,000 at major coin auctions. That is the power of rarity, history, and collector demand all coming together in one small piece of copper. Now you may be asking, why would anyone pay so much money for a penny? The answer lies in passion and scarcity. Collectors value what is rare, what tells a story, and what connects them to the past. The 1982 DeWitt penny is a coin that checks all of those boxes. It is not only rare, it marks the end of copper dominance in U.S. coinage. That is why so many people are ready to buy it at astonishing prices. Across America, thousands of collectors are searching for this coin. It has become a dream find for treasure hunters, hobbyists, and even families looking through old jars of change. Imagine the excitement of discovering a 1982 DeWitt penny and realizing that people all over the world want to buy it from you. This coin also carries a deep sense of nostalgia. It reminds people of their childhood, of the times when pennies still had weight and value, when you could hold a coin and know it was made of solid copper. That nostalgia fuels demand, because owning the 1982 D penny is like holding on to a piece of America's golden past. The Denver Mint played a crucial role in this story. In 1982, millions of pennies were struck there, but the unique varieties created by the transition year make the Denver Mint issues especially important. Collectors chase after these coins with determination, knowing that the Denver Mint mark can make all the difference between an ordinary cent and a fortune. The history of the penny is also worth remembering here. Abraham Lincoln became the first real person featured on a U.S. coin back in 1909. His image has endured for over a century, and the wheat ears on the reverse stood as symbols of growth, prosperity, and the American dream. By 1982, the wheat design was long gone, but the legacy lived on in collector hearts, and that is why the term wheat penny is still proudly used today. It is also important to remember that 1982 was not just any year. It was a dividing line in American coinage. Before 1982, pennies were heavy copper, valuable in metal content, and rich in tradition. After 1982, pennies became lightweight zinc, cheaper to make, but never the same in spirit. That makes every 1982 D-Wheat penny an artifact of transition, balancing between old America and new America. The question often arises, how many of these coins are actually out there? The truth is, very few survive in pristine condition. Most were used in circulation, scratched, or lost to time. That's what creates rarity. And rarity is what creates value. Today, coin dealers, collectors, and auction houses all compete for high-grade examples of the 1982 D-penny. Let's talk numbers again, because they never fail to inspire. Ordinary examples might fetch $50 to $100 if uncirculated, but top-graded specimens can push above $5,000, $10,000, and even beyond. With error coins and rare varieties, the ceiling climbs higher, past $15,000 and even near $18,000. These are not just small sums. These are life-changing amount of money for something most people overlook as pocket change. That is why motivation is key here. Never ignore the pennies in your home, your old piggy banks, or your grandparents' coin jars. The 1982 D-Wheat penny could be hiding right there, waiting for you to discover it. Many people dream of striking it rich with lottery tickets, but sometimes fortune hides in the simplest places, even in a 1-cent coin. So, what should you do if you find a 1982 D-Wheat penny? Hold on to it, research it, and if it looks uncirculated or unique, consider getting it professionally graded. Grading can multiply its value by thousands of dollars, and that one small step could change your future. As we close this story, remember this: the 1982 D-Wheat penny is not just a coin. It is history in your hand, wealth in your pocket, and opportunity knocking on your door. Many people are willing to buy it. Many collectors are searching for it, and its maximum price is already proven to reach the tens of thousands of dollars. So the next time you see a penny, don't dismiss it. You could be holding the legendary 1982 D-Wheat penny, the coin that turned an ordinary cent into a symbol of extraordinary value. Today we are talking about a coin that could literally change your life. We are going to explore the 1983 D-Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that may look simple and ordinary, but in reality, it hides one of the greatest treasures in modern U.S. coinage. If you have the right one, you could be thousands of dollars richer overnight. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln cent is one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. It was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. It became the first American coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic design. That tradition has continued for more than a century, making the penny not just a coin, but a piece of American heritage. Fast forward to the early 1980s. For decades, pennies were made primarily of copper. But as the value of copper metal rose, the cost of producing a penny became higher than the penny's actual face value. In 1982, the U.S. Mint made a huge decision. They would stop making copper cents and instead switch to a cheaper material, zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper. By 1983, the transition was complete. Every penny struck from that year forward was supposed to be zinc-based, weighing 2.5 grams instead of the heavier copper cents that weighed 3.1 grams. But as collectors know, whenever the mint makes changes, surprises and mistakes are bound to happen. And that is where the story of the 1983 D-penny begins. The Denver Mint, represented by the small D mint mark beneath the date, produced billions of these coins in 1983. Most of them are ordinary zinc pennies worth only 1 cent. But hidden among those billions are a few coins that are anything but ordinary. Some of them carry errors, varieties, and rare features that make them worth thousands of dollars today. The most famous of these is the 1983 D double die reverse. On this coin, the reverse side, the back of the penny, shows double letters. Collectors can spot this doubling most clearly in the words 1 cent and United States of America. Instead of clean, sharp lettering, the letters look like they have a shadow or duplicate image. This doubling was a result of a mistake during the minting process, and only a limited number of these coins ever left the Denver Mint. Why is this variety so valuable? Because it is rare, it is dramatic, and it represents a mistake that should never have reached the public. Collectors love coins like this because they tell a story of imperfection in a system designed for precision. And when rarity meets demand, the price skyrockets. Auction houses have seen astonishing results for the 1983 D double die reverse. Depending on condition, examples have sold for $5,000, $10,000, and even over $15,000. The finest examples, graded in high mint state by professional grading companies, had the potential to bring even more. Some experts believe the right coin could cross the $20,000 mark. But the story does not end with the double die. There are also rumors and discoveries of 1983. D penny struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982. Remember, all 1983 cents were supposed to be zinc. But in a massive minting operation, mistakes happen. If even a few copper blanks remain in the machinery, they could have been struck with the 1983 D design. A genuine 1983 D copper cent will be one of the rarest modern coins in existence, easily worth tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors today actively search for these coins by weighing their 1983 pennies. A zinc cent weighs about 2.5 grams, but a copper cent weighs around 3.1 grams. That small difference could mean the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing payday. The 1983 D penny story is a perfect reminder of why coin collecting is so exciting. Most people overlook pennies. They see them as worthless, annoying coins that collect at the bottom of a drawer or in a jar. But collectors know better. They know that hidden in plain sight, among billions of ordinary coins, are treasures waiting to be discovered. Think about it. One day, you might be searching through old change, and suddenly you notice something strange about your 1983 D penny. Maybe the letters look doubled. Maybe the weight feels different. In that moment, you could realize that you are holding a coin worth thousands of dollars. It is that thrill of discovery that drives people all over the world to search for coins. The 1983 D penny is also a symbol of transition in American coinage. It marks the early years of the zinc era, a time when the mint was adjusting to new methods and new materials. Mistakes like the double die and possible copper strikes tell us that even in a highly controlled process, human error and mechanical imperfections can slip through. For collectors, owning a 1983, the double die is not just about the money. It is about owning a piece of history, a coin that represents a rare moment when the ordinary became extraordinary. These coins are trophies, symbols of patience, luck, and knowledge. So how valuable is the 1983 D penny? In the right condition with the right variety, it can easily reach $15,000 to $20,000 at auction. And the demand is strong. Collectors are constantly searching, constantly bidding, constantly chasing this modern rarity. The market proves that people are willing to pay huge sums for the right coin. The lesson here is simple. Never underestimate a penny. It may be small, it may seem worthless, but it carries big potential. The 1983 D penny proves that wealth can come from the most unexpected places. So, the next time you go through your pocket change, pay attention to those 1983 D pennies. Look carefully at the reverse, weigh the coin, and don't dismiss it too quickly, because that little coin could be your ticket to fortune. And remember, the treasures of history are not just in museums or locked away in vaults. Sometimes they are hiding in your very own hands. The 1983 D penny is living proof of that. Today we're diving into another incredible story from the world of U.S. coins. The spotlight is on the 1986 D Lincoln cent, a coin that billions of people have handled without realizing its hidden potential. While it looks like just another penny, the truth is certain varieties of this coin can be worth thousands of dollars today. The Lincoln cent has a proud history dating back to 1909, when it was introduced to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin became the first U.S. coin to feature an actual person. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent became a part of American life, passing to the hands of millions of people daily. By the 1980s, the penny had already gone through big changes. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from copper cents to cheaper zinc cents coated with copper. This was because the rising cost of copper made it too expensive to produce pennies. Starting from 1983 and onward, all cents weighed 2.5 grams, compared to heavier 3.1 gram copper cents. In 1986, the Denver Mint, marked with a small D beneath the date, struck over 4 billion Lincoln cents. Most of these coins are ordinary, worth only 1 cent. But a few rare varieties and errors have turned some 1986 D pennies into treasures worth thousands of dollars. One of the most exciting discoveries collectors look for is the 1986 D double die variety. In this type of error, parts of the coin's design appear doubled. For the 1986 D cent, this doubling can sometimes be seen on the obverse, especially around the words "In God We Trust" or the date. While not every doubling is dramatic, true double dies are highly prized by collectors. Another fascinating variety is the 1986 D RPM or re-punched mint mark. Back in those days, mint marks were still hand-punched onto the dies. Sometimes, the D mint mark was accidentally punched more than once, leading to visible overlapping or doubling of the letter. These RPM coins are rare and can command hundreds, even thousands, of dollars depending on condition. Then there are the classic off-center strikes. Imagine a penny where Lincoln's portrait is shifted far to the left or right, leaving part of the blank planchet visible. These mistakes are instantly noticeable and highly collectible. Depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is, such coins can sell for hundreds of dollars. Another error found in the 1986 D cents is a broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the collar that normally keeps it in shape. These coins look stretched out or misshaped, and collectors love them for their uniqueness. Values can range from $50 to several $100s. But the real jackpot is in the high-grade 1986 D cents. Remember, billions were made and most circulated heavily. Finding one in pristine condition is extremely tough. Coins graded MS-67 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC can sell for astonishing amounts. In fact, an MS-67 red 1986 D Lincoln cent has an auction for over $7,000. That's right. A coin that people dismiss as pocket change has reached thousands of dollars at auction simply because of its perfect condition and rarity. Imagine owning a coin like that. Something most people overlook, but collectors are willing to pay big money for. The 1986 D penny is also interesting because it falls in the middle of the 1980s, a time when the mint was still perfecting the zinc cent production process. As a result, coins from this era often show small errors and striking issues that attract collectors today. It's also important to note that the 1986 D is not just about money. For many collectors, it represents a piece of everyday history. This is a coin that passed through countless hands, bought countless items, and yet a few special examples survive in perfect condition or with rare mistakes that made them treasures. Think about it. You could have one of these coins sitting in your change jar right now. You might think it's worthless, but if it happens to be a double die, an RPM, or a high-grade coin, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That's the magic of coin collecting, turning ordinary objects into extraordinary discoveries. Collectors around the world actively search for these rare 1986 D pennies. Online auctions, coin shows, and collector forums are full of people hunting for the next big find. The demand is strong and the prices prove it. So what is the maximum value of the 1986 D penny? For error coins like double dies and dramatic off-centers, the price can soar into the thousands. For the rarest, high-grade mint state examples, auction prices of over $7,000 have already been achieved, and future sales could climb even higher. The lesson here is simple. Never underestimate a penny. A small coin with a big story. The 1986 D Lincoln cent is living proof that history, rarity, and condition can turn pocket change into treasure. So, the next time you check your change, pay close attention to those 1986 D pennies. Look for doubling, look for mint mark varieties, and if you find one in perfect shape, don't ignore it. You might be holding a small fortune in the palm of your hand. And remember, In the world of coins, even the smallest treasure can lead to the biggest surprises. The 1986 D penny is not just a coin. It's a reminder that hidden wealth can be found in the most unexpected places. The most powerful and symbolic coins from American history, the 1999 D Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might look like just another copper-plated cent, but the truth is far more exciting. This coin, struck at the Denver Mint in 1999, is a hidden treasure that continues to surprise collectors with its story, its history, and its potential value. The year 1999 was special. It was the final year of the 20th century, a year when the whole world stood at the edge of the new millennium. Computers, cities, and nations prepared for Y2K, but inside the Denver Mint, millions of these pennies were being struck, each one holding the legacy of Abraham Lincoln and the last moments of the century. The 1999 D penny is not just a coin. It is a time capsule. Let's start with the design. On the obverse, we see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. It has stood the test of time as one of the most enduring designs in American coinage. The inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust remain as powerful today as they were back then. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, we find the Lincoln Memorial, a structure that stands in Washington, D.C. to honor the man who changed American history forever. But the Denver Mint gave this coin its own identity. With a small D mint mark under the date, this coin carries the pride of Denver, Colorado. The Denver Mint has been responsible for billions of coins throughout history, and in 1999, it was striking pennies at record numbers. Yet, within those billions, a handful of coins stand out. Coins that, because of their condition, errors, or varieties, are worth a fortune today. And that brings us to value. Most people think pennies are worthless, but the 1999 D penny proves them wrong. In circulated condition, it might only look ordinary, but in pristine mint state condition, its value skyrockets. At auction, a 1999 D penny graded MS-68 has sold for more than $7,000. Yes, a single cent turning into thousands of dollars. That is the kind of hidden wealth this coin can carry. Collectors chase the 1999 D penny for its beauty and rarity in high grades. While billions were minted, very few survived without scratches, without bag marks, and with perfect luster. That is why MS-67 and MS-68 examples are so rare and so expensive. For those lucky enough to find one, the rewards are life-changing. But that's not all. The 1999 D penny is also famous for varieties. The wide AM variety, where the space in between the letters A and M in America on the reverse is wide instead of close, is one of the most collectible modern penny varieties. And when that variety appears on a Denver Mint coin, collectors go wild. Such coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on grade. Imagine this. You check your change and you find a 1999 D penny. At first, you think it's worth nothing. But under a magnifying glass, you notice that tiny spacing difference. And suddenly, you are holding a jackpot coin. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's the reason we say, never underestimate a penny. The story gets even more powerful when you realize this was the last Denver penny of the 20th century. After 1999, America entered the 2000s and the coinage world began to change. State quarters came in. The Lincoln Memorial design was only a few years away from being retired, and the U.S. Mint shifted its production strategies. The 1999 D penny therefore stands as a closing chapter, the end of an era and the beginning of something new. Think of the symbolism. A coin struck in Denver at the very end of the 1900s, carrying the face of Lincoln, the memorial of Lincoln, and the strength of America. To hold this coin is to hold history itself. Collectors know this. That's why demand remains high. Whether you are a beginner or an expert, adding a high-grade 1999 D penny to your collection is a badge of honor. It tells the world that you own a piece of the century's final coinage, a piece of Denver Mint history, and possibly a coin worth thousands. What makes this even more thrilling is accessibility. Unlike ancient coins locked in museums, the 1999 D penny is still out there, in drawers and jars, in collections, and even in circulation. The treasure is hiding in plain sight, waiting for the sharp-eyed collector to find it. So, Is a 1999 D penny valuable? Without question, yes. For some, it may bring thousands of dollars. For others, it may be priceless as a symbol of history. But for all, it is proof that greatness can be hidden in the smallest of places. If you own one, cherish it. If you don't, start looking. Because one day, when another 1999 D penny sells for $7,000 or more, you'll remember this video and realize the treasure was always within reach. The 1999 D Lincoln penny is more than copper and zinc. It is legacy, it is wealth, and it is history in your pocket. So, as we close today's video, remember this: never underestimate the power of a penny, especially when that penny is the 1999 D Lincoln cent, the last Denver penny of the 20th century. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey. If you enjoyed the story of the 1999 D penny, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Old Coin Legacy. And remember, the treasure you seek might already be in your pocket.